Hello there. I hope you're having a great day. Today we are doing another purification psalm. It's actually there's 7 of them, and these are great for purifying our minds and our emotions of things like guilt and remorse and things like that. So we're doing Psalm 102, and one of the many uses of this is to bring healing rays. So a lot of times our diseases have metaphysical causes, and those metaphysical causes often have to do with guilt. So this is as one of the healing psalms also. But we're doing it today. We have made a talisman of Uriel, which you can look and see how we did that. And Uriel deals with, well, you can look at that video and we go more into it, but we're gearing this psalm today, this Psalm 102, which is kind of a long one, I want you to focus on something that you've done in the past that you feel remorse and regret, and just like one of the worst things you've ever done, if not the worst, that's not been resolved. Recognize you're in good company. There's not one of us who hasn't done something awful. But unless you're a sociopath, you will feel remorse and guilt over that. And if that guilt is not dealt with, then that is suppressed. Guilt demands punishment. So you're going to find a way to punish yourself. And since you know that punishment is on its way, then you live a life of fear. So guilt, fear, all of those things are really, really counterproductive when you're dealing with trying to be effective magically. So we've got to purify that stuff. So you don't purify it by pretending it's not there. You purify it by looking at what you did and recognizing that you may have done it just because you were being a willful, horrible person. Usually we are willful, horrible people because we're trying to get our needs met and we don't know how. And we are not thinking clearly. And so then we do awful things sometimes, right? And then we feel bad about them, and then we dissociate from it, and then we project it. It just goes around and around and around. So what we're going to do is we're just going to find whatever that is, and we're just going to work the magic on it and ask that it be removed and that we be done with it, okay? And that we're not going to do whatever that was again. We are not going to have that be a pattern for us. So as you know, we go through the psalm once as an incantation, and then we go through the psalm verse by verse, trying to uncover and unlock it for ourselves, so that those magic seeds are planted within our consciousness, so they bear fruit. And this is the fruit of forgiveness. This is the fruit of absolution, and the fruit of repentance. And remember, repentance simply means rethink. Think in a new way. Have a new lease on life. That's what that means. It doesn't mean self-flagellation at all. It's the opposite of that. All right, Psalm 102. Hear my prayer, O Lord, and let my cry come unto thee. Hide not thy face from me in the day when I am in trouble. Incline thy ear unto me in the day when I call. Answer me speedily. For my days are consumed like smoke, and my bones are burned as an hearth. My heart is smitten and withered like grass, so that I forget to eat my bread. By reason of the voice of my groaning, my bones cleave to my skin. I am like a pelican of the wilderness. I am like an owl of the desert. I watch and am as a sparrow alone upon the housetop. Mine enemies reproach me all the day, and they that are mad against me are sworn against me. For I have eaten ashes like bread, and mingled my drink with weeping. Because of thine indignation and thy wrath, for thou hast lifted me up and cast me down. My days are like a shadow that declineth, and I am withered like grass. But thou, O Lord, shall endure forever, and thy remembrance unto all generations. Thou shalt arise and have mercy upon Zion, for the time to favor her, yea, the set time is come. For thy servants take pleasure in her stones, and favor the dust thereof. So the heathen shall fear the name of the Lord, and all the kings of the earth thy glory. When the Lord shall build up Zion, he shall appear in his glory. He will regard the prayer of the destitute, and not despise their prayer. This shall be written for generations. This shall be written for the generation to come, and the people which shall be created shall praise the Lord. For he hath looked down from the height of his sanctuary. From heaven did the Lord behold the earth, to hear the groaning of the prisoner, to loose those that are appointed to death, to declare the name of the Lord in Zion, and his praise in Jerusalem. When the people are gathered together, and the kingdoms to serve the Lord. He weakened my strength in the way. He shortened my days. I said, O my God, take me not away in the midst of my days. Thy years are throughout all generations. Of old hast thou laid the foundation of the earth, and the heavens are the work of thy hands. They shall perish, but thou shalt endure. Yea, all of them shall wax old like a garment. As a vesture shalt thou change them, and they shall be changed. But thou art the same, and thy years shall have come no end. But thou art the same, and thy years shall have no end. The children of thy servants shall continue, and their seed shall be established before thee. All right. Hear my prayer, O Lord, and let my cry come unto thee. So we're asking for the life principle for infinite intelligence to be attentive to us, that we are turning our face to the life force within us. Hide not thy face from me in the day when I am in trouble. Incline thy ear unto me in the day when I call. Answer me speedily. So we're asking that now God would never hide his face from us, but we will feel as though God has hidden his face from us when we are ashamed of what we've done. So we are asking to come face to face with the life principle and to so-called atone for that which we have committed. Incline thy ear unto me in the day when I call, answer me speedily. So we are asking for this counselor within us to listen to us. For my days are consumed like smoke, and my bones are burned as an hearth. Okay, so that's what guilt feels like. Everything is consumed like smoke. Your bones are burned. You have that burning guilt within you, and the only way to handle that, except for doing what we're doing, is to turn your face away from it and pretend it's not there, and hide it, and deepen it into your subconscious mind. And we know what that will do. It shows up as problems in your life. My heart is smitten and withered like grass, so that I forget to eat my bread. So that's another thing. When you are feeling guilty, you feel that pit in your stomach. You feel that like a squeezing of your heart, and you lose your appetite. You lose your zest for life, and you wonder what's going on, because what happens is we're so good at dissociating. We're so good at pretending like we don't know what the problem is, that we don't even notice. Other people notice before we do. We don't even notice that we're becoming a shell of ourselves. By reason of the voice of my groaning, my bones cleave to my skin. I mean, it's just you become just a misery when you let that guilt fester in you like that. I am like a pelican of the wilderness. I'm like an owl of the desert. I mean, there's just nothing for you. There's no good for you. You just feel so barren and fruitless, and that there's just no life left in you. And then you pretend like everything's okay, and you wonder why you are in so many problems, right? We pretend like everything's okay, but in reality, we're feeling like a pelican of the wilderness or an owl of the desert. And we don't want to feel that. We don't want to acknowledge that, so we just turn our face away from it. We run away from that problem. We suppress it deep within us, and then we wonder why we are getting these bizarre results in our lives. I watch and am as a sparrow alone upon the housetop. The loneliness that we feel, the desolateness, the dissolution that we feel, when we are consumed by guilt, and we don't want to face what we've done. We don't want to face why we feel so guilty, so we just feel so alone. Mine enemies reproach me all the day, and they are mad against me. And that are mad against me are sworn against me. Well, let's internalize this, because you can, this can definitely manifest as interpersonal issues, interpersonal problems with other people, and having it seeming like, why is everybody so mean to me, right? But let's also look at this more metaphysically. All of those guilt thoughts they're like a matrix. There's like a big thought form, and those are your enemies, and they reproach you all the day long. You are so angry with yourself for having done this, and then you don't want to look at that. So those thought forms just run amok, creating all kinds of problems for us, right? For I have eaten ashes like bread and mingled my drink with weeping. I mean, ashes. Ashes are symbolic of mourning. Ashes are symbolic of sinfulness, and that's why when in the old days, and still in the Catholic Church, they put ashes on their forehead on Ash Wednesday. It's a way to atone for what you've done. But just going through the motions of atoning with ashes is not what we're talking about. It's actually an internal process where you look at what you've done, you take ownership of what you've done, you're sorry for what you've done, you are willing to let go of it, and you're willing to go forward and not do that again. And then it is removed from you. And that's what we're asking for right now. Because of thine indignation and thy wrath, for thou hast lifted me up and cast me down. Well, it sure feels like that when you're in the midst of your guilt. It looks like God is raising you up just to cast you down. But that's not what's happening. What's happening is any little bit of success that we get, we sabotage it at every turn, because we feel so guilty. We feel so like undeserving of any success, and we'll never ever have happiness until we let go of that guilt. And we can't let go of that guilt until we face it. Oh, brother, I know this is just so positive, but it is a positive thing to do. This is a good thing to do. I'm very proud of you, by the way, for doing this. My days are like a shadow that declineth, and I am withered like grass. Again, it's just, you're just telling the truth. Finally, this is how bad I really feel because of this. And I've just been so consumed with guilt that I've just pretended like it's not there. But or maybe you haven't pretended like it's not there and you're just living with it. That's just as bad, although it's not quite as bad. At least you know at least you know why you're feeling bad. Most people don't know why they feel so bad, and that's because they've suppressed so much guilt. But thou, O Lord, shall endure forever, and thy remembrance unto all generations. Okay, so now we're recognizing that there is a power that is eternal, and that is above all of our problems, that is above our guilt, and is above whatever it is that we've done, and has the ability to restore us to our wholeness. Thou shalt arise and have mercy upon Zion, for the time to favor her, yea, the set time has come. So Zion is you. Zion is the highest part of you. And you have been keeping Zion in captivity by suppressing these guilt thoughts and these guilt feelings, and not coming to terms with your mistake that you've made, or all of your mistakes. For thy servants take pleasure in her stones, and favor the dust thereof. So serving God means that you're taking pleasure in the building and the dust of Zion. The Zion is the dust and the stones are the physical nature of your highest self, and that's where you need to focus your attention now. Now that we're asking for this to be removed, then you have to keep your mind focused on the good and not go back into those old ways of being. So the heathen shall fear the name of the Lord, and all the kings of the earth thy glory. Okay, so the heathen, we're not talking about people in the modern times who identify religiously as heathen. That is not what we're talking about at all. We're talking about the heathen are the thought forms inside your head which are ungodly, which are the ones that are the byproduct of all of this guilt. Okay, and they keep the guilt in place and they run amok. They just cause problem after problem after problem after problem. So they will fear the name of the Lord. Remember the name of the Lord. Now, if you're doing angel magic, we have, or Kabbalistic magic, there are actual divine names. So that there's that. But in addition to that, the name of the Lord is the nature of God. And remember that God is infinite love, infinite life, infinite substance, infinite truth, infinite principle. So all of those things that you want to think about. So of course, God does not hold your mistakes against you, because that's not what pure love does. God is the purifier. And so the name of the Lord causes the heathen to be afraid. And all the kings of the earth are afraid of the glory of God, meaning everything in our life. Again, we take these things personally. The kings of the earth are all the things that we are the most proud of, the things that we think in this world are so precious. But all of that is as nothing compared to the glory of God. And remember, the glory of God means the life force itself, that which glows, the light of God. And that is, the light of God is who Uriel is. So the Uriel is that flaming sword, and there is no structure in the world that can withstand the light of God. So both your negative thought forms, your ungodly thought forms, and all of the manifestations in your life, even the things that you're the most proud of, or the kings of the earth can also be unkind kings. So they can be the manifestations that you don't like. Any manifestation are the kings of the earth. Any big things in your life, they will be annihilated in the presence of the light of God. Okay, so the glory of God is the light of God. So the glory of God is partly what Uriel represents. Okay, he will regard the prayer of the destitute and not despise their prayer. So you are destitute. That's why you're coming to God. I feel so guilt-ridden. I feel so bad about myself. And he will regard you. He will not despise your prayer. He's going to fix it. He will heal you. Everything is actually already perfectly fine. Everything is actually perfectly fine. It's just you haven't gotten there yet, because you can't escape your own prison, because you're so good at being a prisoner, at being a prison builder and a prison guard. So, but God will take you out of that prison, and that's why we call on Uriel, because he can blast forth the prison. And that's why one of Uriel's symbols is the lightning bolt, and that's in the tower, in the tarot. The tower card is a good symbol for Uriel as well, just like. And people are always afraid of the tower, but when it comes to guilt, we say, bring it on. Bring it on. This shall be written for the generation to come, and the people which shall be created shall praise the Lord. So the generation to come is your new thought forms. It's your new life. It's everything that exists after you have annihilated this guilt. All right? For he hath looked down from the height of his sanctuary. From heaven did the Lord behold the earth. Yeah. So he's already aware of what you're going through. God's already aware, because God's omniscient. God's already aware of what you did. God's already aware of what you need, how to get rid of it. He does not hold anything against you. God does not condemn you. He never has, and he never will. You condemn yourself because you knew what you did was wrong, and now you are playing judge and jury, and that's not your job. Okay, your job is to be sorry and to let go of it and to allow it to be removed from you. And then you'll move on. You'll be a better person. You'll learn a great lesson. All will be well, I promise. I don't care what you did. I don't care what you did. You will be free from it. Okay. To hear the groaning of the prisoner, to loose those that are appointed to death. Yeah, that's ultimately the ego wants to kill you. Ultimately, your ego, that's its ultimate goal, is to kill you, right? And to use all that you've done against you. You created that ego, by the way. This is not something that's outside of you. So don't blame the devil, okay? This is you. So your ego is something that you want to let go of and allow Uriel to blast forth. And it can be scary when this stuff gets blasted forth, because everything that you think is secure is not so secure, and it's good for that to be remembered. To declare the name of the Lord in Zion, and to praise and his praise in Jerusalem. Okay, so not only the highest parts of you, but the whole city that surrounds it. So every part of you will be declaring the name of the Lord, and again, the nature of God, all of those qualities: love, peace, joy, forgiveness, intelligence, all that stuff that we know. That's the name of the Lord in Zion, yes, the most exalted part of you, and also praising God in all of the other aspects of your mind and the manifest world. You'll notice that things start to change rather dramatically when you do this. When the people are gathered together and the kingdoms to serve the Lord. Okay, so the people, again, when we're talking about inside you, the thought forms, you're gathering them together, all the kingdoms, all the different thought forms inside you, to now serve the Lord. In other words, to serve those qualities that we've just discussed: love, peace, freedom, all that. To serve that instead of your selfish aims. I just lost it. Oh, here it is. He weakened my strength in the way. He shortened my days. So, no, he didn't. He did not shorten your days. He did not weaken your strength. You did that, and then you projected that onto God. I said, "Oh my God, take me not away in the midst of my days. Thy years are throughout all generations." So now we're recognizing, wait a minute, I don't want to be shortened days. I don't want to have weakness. I want God to come in and take me away from all of that and strengthen me and allow me to enter into that immortal presence, which is my birthright. Throughout all generations. So all of the next generation of thought forms that we are now giving birth to. Of old hast thou laid the foundation of the earth, and the heavens are the work of thy hands. So since the beginning, the old religion is based on the fact that there is one power, there is one presence, there is one source, there is one force, there is one substance, always has been, always will be. I don't care what religion or non-religion you have, it doesn't matter. There's one power. Okay, so that's the old religion. There's truly only one religion, and that is the craft, as far as what we call it. It laid the foundations, and everything is owned by life. Owns itself. Life owns life. So you are a part of the one power of the universe. That's who you are, and so is your life. So if you remember that and you stop trying to have your own personal life separate from God, then your problems will start to dissolve. They shall perish, right? But thou shalt endure. Yea, all of them shall wax old like a garment, as a vesture shalt thou change them, and they shall be changed. So everything in the mortal world is subject to death, but if you give all of that back to the immortal thought form, which is God, the original thought form, which is God, then even the stuff that passes away shall be changed. So you're no longer going to look at everything in the same way. You're going to see the immortal light that's behind all of those things. So you're not going to be so upset when things wax and wane and come and go, because you recognize that there is an immortal force behind all of that, and everything that's going away is making room and way for the next generation, which means those new thought forms, which bring in something much, much better. But thou art the same, and thy years shall have no end. So God doesn't change. We change things in the mortal world, but God just stays the same. And that feels very, very safe to recognize that no matter what we've done, that there is an immortal, eternal, unchanging presence that has never condemned us, and that will return us to our sanity, that will return us to the perfection that we were born to be. And then all of our external circumstances will start to reflect that. The children of thy servants shall continue, and their seed shall be established before thee. So the children of your children are not necessarily we're not talking about physical children, we're talking about your new thoughts, your new, the new personality, the new thought forms will continue, and their seed shall be established before thee. So God's in charge now. God's in charge of all of this, and that's what we want. Again, it's not an external force that we are supplicating to. We are not abdicating responsibility to an external force. We are inviting infinite intelligence to be our guide and to show us where we need to be, when we need to be there, who we need to be with, what we need to say, what we need to do, and we are leaving the past behind us once and for all. Yes, we made mistakes. Yes, we really messed up, and it's over, and we're no longer feeling guilty about it because we have repented. We've rethought. We've thought again. We have complete absolution, complete atonement. There is absolutely nothing for us to feel guilty about, and we can move forward knowing full well that we have done what we need to do to move past the past. And now we are embracing the future, knowing that God is going to show us the brightest future possible for us. I hope this was very powerful for you. This is extremely powerful magic. It always works. If you want to make a talisman of Uriel, this is a very, very intense, powerful talisman, and you can read about how to do, or you can see how to do that on the video. And I hope that you join us again, and join us in our Facebook group too. We have a wonderful group of people and all kinds of great angel magic and basic witchcraft, and there's some old lectures on there. There's going to be new lectures on the YouTube channel, and we can talk all about that stuff. There's great people in there. If you have questions, there's stuff to download to help you with your Kabbalistic studies. It's a great group. So hopefully we see you over at the Facebook group. It's great to work with you. I can't wait to work with you again. Blessed be.